Hi, my name is Grace Shalom Hopkins, and welcome to another episode of Spin Weekly. Today, it is a mystery spin. Ooh. Maybe I should do that for Halloween, a mystery spin. Okay, so this is what we're spinning, and I'm going to show it to you before we even get started, so you are even more confused about what it is. Because that's the kind of awesome and sneaky I am. So this fiber was sent to me by a lovely Instagram friend. This is the fiber that she sent me. And I mixed it with some Firestar, which I believe is from Feathertail Fiber Arts. So I've left Whitney, the original friend who sent this, her Instagram down below. She's also a knitwear designer and she is so cool. Definitely worth a follow, especially for you geeky people out there. She's very, very delightfully fibery and geeky and just nice. Great combination. I might be a little biased because that's I am geeky and fibery too, but let's not talk about that. This one is from my fiber share package that I talked about last week. So I have links to the unboxing of that and also the Feathertail Fiber Arts webpage and Instagram and all the links. You know, everything is always linked down below. Just look down below if you have questions. So this is a sneaky mystery fiber. I don't think you're going to be able to guess what it is. However, I will give you a hint. It is affordable and vegan. Now we know that Firestar is vegan. It's a pulled nylon and it is pretty darn affordable and it takes dye like magic, as you can see. So I'm just gonna let you percolate on what this fiber is as I go through the spin. Now, if you are a member of the Patreon family, you will have the voiceover video for this, and if not, you can either just enjoy this music video and see all the visual goodness, or you can hop down to the links down below and join the Patreon family. I recently revamped the Patreon perk levels to be more accommodating to international people and also people who wanted more access to my information and my recipe cards. So I added a $2 perk level, so there's $1, and that gets you all of the past videos, plus all of the videos that are voiceover for this month that you paid for, and any subsequent months that you pay $1 for. So that's only $12 a year, which is really affordable. And you would join 117 other $1 perk peeps. I added a $2 perk, which is the exact same, but it's double the love. So if you have just a little bit extra love to give me in the peso form, there's an option for you. So that's only $24 a year, which is also pretty darn affordable. Next up, I added a $10 perk level in replacement of the $30 swag package. Now, the swag package was really awesome, but because I had international free shipping, a lot of international people jumped on, but customs was killing people, and shipping was difficult for me. So overall, it was a wonderful year, a little bit more than a year, like a year and 6 months, and I've decided to replace it with a $10 level, which is both more affordable and the perk is more accessible to anyone because it is 2 of my digital recipe cards per month. So every month that you're signed up, you get 2 of my digital recipe cards, plus all of the voiceovers, plus the back library of all of the past voiceover videos. So that's a pretty sweet deal. For $15, which is our last perk level, you get the recipe cards, the archive, all of the upcoming voiceover videos, plus an unlimited question and answer thread on the Patreon, so you can ask me as many questions as you want on any topic within reason. Just go for it, and I will answer them throughout the month. Some of them might be turned into videos. I reserve the right to answer them and then also make a video of it. But so if you have been thinking about becoming a Patreon family member, but weren't really sure which place fit you, go ahead and check it out. Check out a look. Check out a look from the library, and you will find that our selection has changed. Without further ado, let's get on to the spin. So here we go. We have this beautiful fiber. It's very humbug-y. The coloration, I think, on this particular fiber looks really beautiful and natural, like something you would find from of traditional wool humbug. It just looks very convincing. It doesn't seem artificial to me. However, the purple is very artificial in such a stunningly fantastic way. So the way that I did this was I got a little piece of fiber, as you can see, and then I drafted out some Firestar. Now you want to kind of open it up so it's not like chunks. You want to separate the Firestar apart from each other, and that helps it blend more effectively. So you can kind of see the bits that were a bit more chunky and how I am sort of starting to open those up. Now my goal here is to distribute the fibers really evenly to get the I dropped it. To get the Firestar distributed. I'm not too concerned about maintaining the humbugginess of the fiber. I don't necessarily want it to be uniform, and I don't really care if it gets mixed. I'm just going to blend in the Firestar. So I'm working in smaller pieces. Like there, I started with 3, and then I decided that was too many. And another trick, in addition to working with small pieces, is to lay out the fiber in like a different way. Right, like if you pull a piece off and you do A, B, C every single time, well, the A's are always going to fall on the A's, and the B's are always going to fall on the B's, and so on and so forth, and you're not going to get a lot of variation. So if you mix it up, like you always put the A in a different spot, then you're going to have a more, I was going to say a more uniform blend, but I guess we're really not going for uniformity. A more organic blend. Similar to laying down the fiber. So I didn't put 3 exactly the same pieces of Firestar on each of those layers that you just saw. I kind of dispersed it evenly, and I'm pulling with my fingers and my palms rather than kind of the pinch pull draft, and that helps me grab several different fibers across the top and kind of helps negate the yanking chunks problem. So you can already see visually that some of the fiber tends to be more chunky, and you want to work against that as much as possible. However, because I'm choosing to make these into the faux logs, a lot of that is going to get distributed in the drafting itself. So when you're doing a toolless prep, a good rule of thumb is to combine as many symbiotic techniques as possible. So see if you can draft and prep and organize with the same goal in mind. You know what I mean? Like the faux log is helping to move the fiber, as well as the way I'm drafting with the palm and the fingers, as well as organizing it in a organic method. Here I'm doing 2 separate layers of roll log prep, so you can see that I'm doing several different things to get it to do what I want it to do. It's going to be really hard to have one method perform exactly the way you want it to. You want to give yourself a fighting chance and kind of try everything, essentially. If you think of your fiber as your income, you want many streams of income. So now that I have my Rolags prepped, I'm gonna go ahead and spin them, and now you're gonna see that it is the most buttery soft spin you can ever imagine. Look at that. Oh my gosh. See, do you see how thin that is? I'm not even working. I'm just pulling back, and it's so freaking uniform. So I don't even really know how to articulate this idea of how smoothly and most uniform it is to you. I feel like we have a limited number of description words in English for spinning texture, so I feel like I keep repeating the same things over and over in slightly different variations. But truly, I was shocked. I did not expect to really like this. When Whitney sent it to me, I kind of felt like it was going to be a comical experiment. Like, I wasn't gonna hate it, but it was gonna be funny and more of a silly than a legitimate thing, because acrylic, of course, you know, but it turned out to be really good. And if I was interested in doing an acrylic, I think I would absolutely go this route for a whole project. Truly, I felt like it was easy to prep. It didn't have a lot of static flyaway. It was easy to blend with another fiber. It was very easy to draft in a really uniform way. So if you're looking for an affordable acrylic fiber, this is really good. Of course, I'm saying acrylic, and I'm assuming that you have watched the music video only version first. So if you're a Patreon person and you were hoping to be sneaked until the end, well, I guess I just blew that. But most of you guys watch this one after you watch the music one, so oops. Anyway, it's really nice. Aside from the fiber itself, I did notice that, see what I mean though? Look at that, holy mackerel. It's just spinning like butter, freaking butter. As I was spinning this yarn with my queen bee, I was noticing that it felt really difficult to treadle. And initially I adjusted the tension, I kind of rotated the tension block. I do need to replace the felt on the tension block. It's looking pretty worn out, but otherwise, I wasn't seeing what was the problem until I realized that I was sitting too far away from the treadles. If you sit too far away from the treadles, the way that your body applies pressure makes it more difficult to treadle. So I thought that was really interesting. So if you have a Spinolution wheel and you've been feeling like it's difficult to treadle, try sitting closer and applying more direct pressure. So anyhow, that was a unique little discovery I had. I got it from the user manuals and like the troubleshooting section of the Spinolution webpage, which I had briefly visited before, but I hadn't had any trouble. And it is extensive. If you have any Spinolution problem, it is extensive. I'm very impressed with how Ashley's managed that. So if you have a Spinolution wheel, I recommend checking it out just for curiosity's sake. I would have looked at it sooner if I had realized how interesting and extensive it was. So, like I said, this spin was pretty straightforward. I didn't do any fancy drafting. I'm just not a real fancy drafting kind of a person, unless that is the main focus of my spin. So you're probably not going to catch me doing a lot of crazy technical spinning, but I do want to draw your attention to how, despite the fact that my actual spinning style at the wheel is really consistent, I'm able to spin lots of different kinds of yarns by messing with the prep and the fiber itself. So if you're really struggling with changing the way that you spin to fit somebody else's rules of how to get a certain kind of yarn, I recommend exiting the box and looking and seeing what other things you can manipulate to get the results you're looking for. Or, and potentially in addition to, check to see if you can achieve the same finished results with a different kind of yarn. So there are lots of other ways you can do something. So if you're looking for, say, something lightweight and warm, but you're having trouble drafting long draw, you can change the fiber type that, updating my audiobook, you can change the fiber type you're using and the weight that you're using to accommodate that. So those are always my advice. If you are really struggling and you've tried and tried and tried and you keep hitting a wall, back out and see if you can find a different way. So with all of that speech, I think I'm going to go ahead and let you listen to music for the rest of the spin. The plying, I'm not going to go ahead and jump into it. I'll just let you enjoy it because it's a super straightforward center pole ball ply. I didn't do anything fancy. It was the regular method, and it also spun like butter. But I guess before I go, I did want to say that even though I did a no tool prep, you'll see that the fiber itself is not catching. Because it's slick enough, it doesn't kind of get into a knot or a lump. It doesn't make big bulky blips on your yarn. It just teases itself out without being staticky. So that's some kind of like acrylic magic that I'd never encountered before. So another little hack is if you're having trouble learning to spin a finer yarn without little blips and nubs, maybe try a cheap acrylic jumbo yarn, and spinning it thinner would give you the body memory of that weight without a lot of the troubles that might come from spinning it in a more traditional fiber. So, yep, there you go. That's my thoughts. I will see you on the other side, and I hope you enjoyed this. Especially Patreon people, let me remind you that if you have any questions or thoughts or comments or suggestions, leave them in the comment section down below. I read all of them, and I'm always interested to hear your thoughts more than anything else. I mean, I create these videos for you so you can have an extensive educational and inspirational library. So if you feel like I'm missing something, it is an honor to fill that gap for you. Okay, so do you have any guesses on what it is yet? I will say it drafts like absolute butter, and it is probably the smoothest yarn. Wow. Just tossed it. The smoothest yarn I have ever spun in my entire life. Most uniform, least irregular. I mean, I have only awe and joy to express regarding the uniformity of this thing. Yeah, every time I look at it, I think, what the heck, did I spin this thing? It looks machine spun. I am so amazed, like unsettled slightly. And it drafted so thin on its own. I did not force that. That is exactly what it wanted. Even though there were some bits that were kind of rumply with my no tool prep, it just drafted like butter. What can I say? It was just smooth and magical. The Firestar distributed evenly. The slight variation in the fiber itself turned out so gorgeous. I mean, what? Holy macaroni. So I did want to say I used a no tool prep on purpose to go with the ultra affordability theme here. So you could make this entire yarn with arguably an ounce of pre-dyed fiber. If you wanted to be super affordable in the short term, it would be cheaper to buy an ounce of pre-dyed Firestar than if you bought like a roll of it, maybe a pound, and some dyes. But, you know, c'est la vie. If you're doing fiber work, you probably already have some dyes. And another cool way to get add-ins is to harvest them from other fibers. So if you have bats, even if you're dedicated, you can pick out the add-ins from a combed top, because usually they're kind of in veins. You can just pull it out. Anyway, there's lots of different ways you can get sparkly that's pretty cheap. And I did the no tool prep to demonstrate how it's done, because I get questions about that fairly frequently, and also to encourage people who have a lot of fancy tools to try a no tool prep occasionally, because it kind of stretches your imagination. Anytime you're doing something differently or new, it's good scope for the imagination. I also am realizing that I'm kind of like shrinking down in my chair there. Slowly I got shorter and shorter. This chair is old, and so the bottom part kind of like migrates. Anyway, so now that I've spoken how much I enjoyed and kind of my philosophy behind the spin, is it time for the big reveal? Hit pause and comment down below what you think it is. Remember, it's super affordable and it's vegan. Okay, do you have your guess in the comments or in your mind? Are you picturing it? All right. Dun 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 dun! It's 100% acrylic jumbo yarn from freaking Hobby Lobby. I was gonna say Micheals. It is the Yarn Bee Sandpiper Shores Showstopper yarn, and you get 10 ounces for $6.99. Like what? If you used a coupon right now, there's a 40% off one item coupon right there, and then it would be like almost $3. What, for 10 ounces? And actually, it is, to be completely accurate, 50% acrylic, 35% polyamide, and 15% wool. So I guess I lied. There is a little bit of wool in there. I wasn't sure the exact version of this yarn, so I had to go Google it, and there is a tiny bit of wool. So I might have unintentionally been slightly misleading, but basically it feels pretty much just like acrylic to me. I cannot feel the wool. If it is wool, which it clearly is, it is the most overprocessed wool I've ever felt in my life, because it's not bad, it just doesn't feel like wool. So here is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see in regular form. Obviously it looks like this. But I have put links to the different kinds down below from Joann's and Hobby Lobby and Micheals. They all have similar ones, and they're in the jumbo category, and you can just go to your local store and pick one up, and it's gonna look like this. It's just a little combed top situation, and they're used for arm knitting. So that's what you can look for. If you're lost, you can say, I'm looking for the loosely drafted, I guess. Maybe just say arm knitting section. Where is your jumbo arm knitting section? And jumbo in America, at least, is the little number 7. You know, they have the yarn with the label and the 7. That's the jumbo. So there you go. That's what it is, and I am just really impressed with how easy that was. So there's lots of different kinds. There's some like luxury ones with bamboo. There's tons of different varieties. So search around. There's plenty of ones on Etsy as well. I may actually go ahead and give some more options outside of those big box stores in the links down below, just to give you a good idea, especially for international people who might not have one of those around. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed that spin. I hope you were surprised at what it was, even though it turned out to have 15% of wool. But if you did like it, leave me a comment down below. Have you ever experimented with spinning yarns, or like yarns, not yarns? You know what I mean. If you ever tried that, actually, as a side note, my first yarn that I ever spun was some bulky acrylic that I unspun, and I put the different plies on little cardboard bobbins that I made and tied it to the back of a kitchen chair and slowly unraveled it. And then my father walked in a couple of days into this tedious project and he's like, don't they make devices for doing that sort of thing? And that's when I looked up spinning wheel. And being a good history and fashion geek, I already kind of knew how it worked, but not exactly. And I was 16, and that was the beginning of an adventure. So in an interesting way, I've done this before, but I didn't actually get to spinning that part. I quickly moved to wool and other fibers. But anyway, if you have any experience with that, leave it in the comment section down below. If you liked this video, hit the like button. And if you want to support the show, go ahead and check out my books. I have links in the shop below, both the physical and the digital. If you want to join the Patreon family, there are links down below. This yarn was spun on my Queen Bee Spinolution wheel and Ideal Spinolution wheels. If you're interested in checking out any of the ones that you have had your eye on, from the Polywog all the way up to the bees, go ahead and check out my link down below. All of that helps fund the show and just our general life. Groceries. I'm looking at you, gluten-free groceries being so expensive. So I will see you next time, and thank you for joining me in another episode. Bye.